You just got your asses whipped by a bunch of goddamn nerds. Nerds!
So we're back, and we've covered everything pretty much. So many different things: live action TV series, animated TV series, movies. We've kind of, we've kind of touched on everything. Pause. But this, and I'm going to give you two words that don't normally go together, which is robot and chicken. And they really shouldn't mean anything, but for certain people it does. It means no holds barred. It means anything goes. And of course, that's why it's labeled Adult Swim and it's on late at night. They definitely cross the line. They push the boundaries of whatever they can do. And being that we're comic book heads and we've been following the movies, this is something that we've all gotten to know over the years. This is not anything new. Again, these guys have a lot of they got a lot of patience because it's what is it, the stop animation that they do with these figures.
The claymation,
It's a lot that they do. It's usually only a 15-minute episode, but they did, being that we're comic book heads, they did do a DC special, and it's been out since 2012. But it is some of the funniest things I've seen on TV, and it's very different. Again, like I said, we done live action, we've done animation, but this is a whole nother monster, pun intended, because it's a robot chicken. But I will say the first time I kind of got wind of these guys was, and I mentioned it before in another episode, they did the Real World Metropolis, and we see Superman, we see Aquaman, we see Batman. You see them living together like the MTV, the Real World. So these episodes, it's 3 episodes, 23 minutes long, about 25 minutes each. So the first one is Robot Chicken, a DC Comics special. And so I'll go to Pooba first here.
And the funny thing is we're laughing because it's these are characters that I've always hold like to the highest title of respect and honor and amazing things, and like DC tells this great story of good versus evil. And what if there's no evil? It's just strictly comedy relief, and that's what this is. Thank you to Jeff Johns, who's the chief creative officer at DC Entertainment, who even allowed this. Like, it would be crazy to allow anybody. And then the people at Robot Chicken, Rob Wells, who's the director, Seth Green, who's also a co-creator, and a lot of the voices on here. And I want to make sure it's Matt Sunreich, another co-creator over at Robot Chicken. And taking the most sacred of superheroes and putting them in these situations where it's real life. And I've always, I think, Pete, you're the one who put me onto Robot Chicken when it was it Comedy Central that it was on?
No, I think it's always been on Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network, yes. So this particular series is on Max. So that we watched it via HBO Max. It's kind of separated on its own. It's nothing that again, not recommended for children. So I'll say this right from the jump. For the parents that want to keep their kids as innocent as possible, I wouldn't recommend this. There's a lot of cursing, a lot of vulgarity, a lot of different things. And if I or we slip up today, I apologize. but it's like Pete said, this is a no holds barred, um, you know, DC to the world, with all its characters. Like, you know, they don't really miss on too many characters, and fun to watch. I got tears in my eyes. My face already hurts knowing that we were going to do this episode. And the RCDC, which is part one, and we'll get into, I guess, all of it. But poor Aquaman in that first that first part one. But I think that what stole the show for me was the real characters. When they were kind of goofing, like, this is a real character in DC, and they're goofing off their own product. Like, wow. Wow. So the squirrel got beat up at the end, which I love. That was crazy. But, just overall as a show, it looks cute, but it's far from it. And I love it for that.
Cool.
For me, Robot Chicken was introduced a long time ago, like Pete was saying, with the real world Metropolis. And I couldn't believe it. I was in shock on how funny this really was. It seemed to me they were doing something that we were all thinking. What if we did, like Pooba said, take all the seriousness out of it and just have fun with these characters? Again, thank you, DC, and all other franchises that allow Robot Chicken to just let them be and just have fun with your product. One thing I do admire is that they just continue herbing Aquaman. I mean, Aquaman, his powers is water. Now, look, we have 70% of the world is water, but yet they're always on land. So I think that's really, really funny. And the way they take all these characters and make fun of their powers or having no powers, it's just very brilliant. A lot of slapstick comedy, but it hits every time. So many jokes, and that you have to watch it at least a few times just to catch a few. But yeah, this for sure had me in tears, stomach hurting and all.
So so from the first episode, which is the Robot Chicken DC Comics special, one of the things that stood out to me was there's a character, they're animals, and his name is Captain Carrot, and his Justice League is called the Zoo Crew. So Captain Carrot apparently had passed away, and they were at his funeral, and it worked out perfect because I had this Green Lantern shirt, and he couldn't keep it together because he's laughing at them. Because he's like, well, like, what the hell are we looking at right now, yo? He said, and then he starts laughing. He goes, yo, that turtle has on goggles, yo. And he slapped himself in the face, and then he said, yo, I just can't. And he broke out, yo. He flew off. And then who was it? Was it Captain Cheese who came over and said, yeah, man, that was really inappropriate. And then Batman starts laughing at Captain Cheese's name. So, and then of course, what Pooba brought up, the characters that really exist, and I mentioned this before. It's like an encyclopedia for characters, which is called Who's Who. It's a comic for DC characters, and I've seen them. The one thing I noticed when I was younger, looking at the Green Lantern Corps, just like I didn't understand why there were so many different ones. I mean, now obviously it's because they're like space cops. They have different sectors of the universe to patrol. I get it now, but back then I didn't. There's a one that looks like an eyeball, and he's a Green Lantern. Like, how? You got the regular guy here, Hal Jordan, but then you got an eyeball standing right next to him.
Where's his fingers?
But it makes sense now. But that part was funny too. These guys really exist. Firestorm taking offense that he was kind of looped into the same category with the two other guys.
I was agreeing with Firestorm.
Definitely.
I think Firestorm is a great character.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah,
he was upset.
He got hosed.
Yeah, definitely. He was in the wrong group. But I'll say this. If let me just say this one more thing. What Pooba said about as far as these respected characters that we grew up with, and they allowed them to have freedom with them to just kind of go crazy and push the envelope. It's kind of seeing that guy, that person, could be a coworker, could be a family member who you have so much respect for, but then you see them get shit faced at a bar, and you're like, wow, I
Show
didn't
me
know
your
this
true
guy had it in
colors.
him. That's what Robot Chicken is like for me. Like, yo, I never would have thought what we've seen in these 3 episodes that I would ever see, and I
No,
speechless, man.
no, no. I mean, what stood out to me was the when Superman doesn't know that his kissing makes people forget, and then he just goes out and starts making out with Lois, Luther, Darkseid,
With
Grundy,
Brainiac, when he came down on Brainiac like that, hilarious.
Creeper, yeah. And then
Lois was like, "Hey, why do you have to? Why does that have to be one of your powers?"
He's the
he's
fun.
like, if I
He's
knew I
the
could do
one.
this.
He steals the show for me, Superman. He steals the show. So that anything else from episode 1? Because that's only episode 1.
Well, I'll say this: all 3 were actually really good. Like the
Yeah.
stories were solid. Episode 1, I want to talk about how again with Aquaman, he said, "You know what? Screw you guys. I'm out." And entered and try to join the Legion of Doom. And then so they tell him, "Yo, go get a cake." So he gets the cake, but he gets this big Trojan horse cake, and he goes, "Hey guys, I'm just here, doing King of Atlantis stuff. Don't worry about me." And then it comes to find out, hey, he tried to set up the Justice League, and then next thing you know, the Justice League finally gave him his props and said it's Aquaman Appreciation Day. And then
Cut the cake.
and then Luthor goes, "Oh my gosh, they got knives in here. Get out. Everybody out." I was in tears with that. Which Luthor being Alfred Molina, oh my gosh, that was so cool. His voice I caught right away. Like right away. When he said mother effer, I was in tears. I was in total tears. And then finally, Aquaman had to figure out, what are you going to do? Are you going to stay with the Legion of Doom, or are you going to help your friends? And so happens that, well, I'll let you guys check it out. I won't spoil it for y'all, but that really stuck out to me. And they finally gave Aquaman his props.
And I don't know. And let's not forget. And this is how they started off. Who I think it was Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and Superman. And they're like, "Yeah, come on, we're in the invisible jet. Let's go, let's go." And then Aquaman comes, he runs on, and boom, he falls on the floor. And they weren't in the invisible jet; they were all flying. And they said, "Yeah, it's because you have no powers," and they broke out.
And then he said, "I'll just swim there."
Yeah.
And
there's no water.
The Two-Face scene when he couldn't make a decision to do number 1 or number 2.
No. I think it wasn't the decision to do either. It was like, okay,
which one comes out first?
No. Do I do this? Okay, no, I don't. He already knew he would have to take a dump.
No, but he took a dump and then flipped it to see if he should even wipe.
Yes. Or flush, or put on the seat.
And then he flipped it again to see if he was going to flush. So he didn't wipe, he didn't flush, and Penguin comes in right after him.
That entire scene was just so hilarious. Oh my gosh, how Two-Face lives his Two-Face lives his life with the choice of the coin. Hilarious.
Hilarious.
And then the exhibit where they had Freeze, Captain Cold, Icicle, I think Chillblaine.
That guy, I gotta look him up. I don't know who the hell that was.
They didn't know either.
Yeah, They said it in the episode. They were like, "Oh, the world doesn't know." I thought they were going to use Killer Frost. I was waiting for Killer Frost to pop up
that's
in
a go. Yeah.
that. But
Oh, yo,
hilarious.
those are the things.
They ruined the structure of the bank in the bank.
They kept on freezing the wall.
He said, "Hey, my name is Freeze." He was like, "Yeah, but you spell it like fries, like French fries."
Because it's German.
It's German.
No, but listen, I was
Great,
the little
great.
cheese when P mentioned it. When they said little cheese and Batman couldn't keep hitting me.
Batman, out of all characters, that's usually the one that is always the most serious. He couldn't hold it. That was funny.
Yo, but
brilliant.
When they were trying to pick up chicks in the club, that was in the first episode.
Oh my god, that's right.
We're forgetting so much. Everything hits.
No, that's fine.
Knows everything hits. Nothing is missed. Everything hits. You know, I'm literally got the whole show. You're gonna see me doing this because I literally have tears coming down my eyes.
There's a line on that scene that had me again in tears, stomach hurting. Was when the Flash said, "Not even I get friend zoned that fast." Oh my gosh, I lost it.
So for me in that same scene, Green Lantern said, "Looks like you two bitches need to pay for your own drinks."
That was it for me. Lantern
was on. He was on the money the whole time.
As soon as they dissed him, he said, "Then you buy your own drinks."
Batman was going to take off his costume. They're like, "No. We
they all their money bags." He said, "Money bags in costume." Hilarious, good shit, man.
And then Glenn, I shower every day.
Oh my God.
The whole Legion of Doom, all their heads was down. No one didn't want to say anything.
Because they're doing a Secret Santa, and then he walks in to deliver the mail. He's the mailroom guy in the Legion of Doom.
But he reeks.
Oh, yeah, he stinks.
Oh my God! My guys, and this is just the first episode of this.
Yeah,
so it's great. My brain hurts already.
There's in the second one, they're complaining to Luthor because he's coming up with another scheme, and they're complaining that they don't get vacation. So.
You too much work. It's always work.
And it's Lena's fault. It was Lena's fault.
Yeah.
It's Lena's fault. She was like, "Yo, how does the Starbucks girl get a vacation before us?"
So then they go on vacation. Go.
All right, so the second season again. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the second episode, second special, was brilliant. Let's start with the title, "Villains in Paradise." I think that is the title alone just sealed it for me. With that being said, there were so many memorable moments of each of them. I can't stress enough. Each special has a great story, a great fighting finale at the end. I mean, this is just wonderful. When they threw Starro in the toilet and they said, "Hey, that's how alligators get grown giant alligators in New York sewer." That's a myth. But then you see Martian Manhunter goes, "Look, it's a big jellyfish that is like a alligator from New York." I love comedy like that. Like the comedy in this show is just amazing. Now, I do have to say, public service announcement. This is not for the weak. Okay, so again, if you're coming in here watching these shows and looking at these heroes, there is profanity, there is some vulgar, and you might there is nudity in this. Can you believe these guys actually went there? I have to say it, but what made me laugh was Scarecrow with the bush. I think I'm like, who came up with this? Who came up with this stuff, yo? Like, holy smokes, you guys really came up with some funny stuff. Again, things like you wouldn't fathom to
Oh my
even
God,
think about with these
I need a
heroes.
tissue.
Another part that stuck out to me in in that episode was Brainiac. I thought Brainiac was pretty funny. Um he was complaining. He said he was 3G. I mean, today we're rocking 5G. And Brainiac is supposed to be a supercomputer. Um Yeah, part two, whew, man, it's tough to like choose which special was the best, but man, did this one really hit. They pushed they pushed it to the edge on this one, and it was just straight up brilliant.
Booba.
This one had like a West Side Story Grease feel to it in the sense. I think it was like 22 minutes long, and he had 3 musical numbers in it. With the vacation beach scene. The first thing that had me dying was the superheroes. Like Batman, Batman had his logo on his chest, and it was bare chest, and he had the logo stuck to his chest. So the difference between their real costume and their beach costume was hilarious, and the best costume of all, guys. And I'll debate this on this show, was Bizarro. He wore a full coat, winter coat, because he's the complete opposite of everything.
Yeah.
So he wore a trench coat to the beach.
Genius.
He went
Absolute
winter gear.
genius.
Again, just they say that your best friends will crack jokes with you and crack jokes on you, and you should be able to take it because it comes always from a good place. But when they were making fun of Sex Luthor, like, come on. This is the episode that gave us an army of seahorses. So that just bounced off of Starro. They thought they were doing some damage. I mean, of course, and I'll say this in the scientific way, that this was the penis show. This was the musketeer show of all shows. When Cole said that the bush was funny, they show full frontal for mostly everybody. But I think what takes the cake for me was Sinestro. Sinestro, when he charred his body, and I'll tell you a quick story. Me, Pete, and my brother went to Miami. And he knows this story very well, which is why he's smiling right now. But we rented a kind of a drop top car, so we were in Miami, Memorial Day weekend, hanging out. We had a nice car, and I was in the back, and I fell asleep in the back, and my knees got so burned. They were peaking at Sinestro's. So when Sinestro is burning up, and he's trying to put on his sweater that said "Free Mustache Rides." Yo, I lost it because you can tell he's like, and I know what that feels like. And Pete and my brother were making fun of me the whole weekend, man, because when I tell you I could barely walk or do anything after that burn, man, I was pinker than Sinestro, bro. I was pinker than Sinestro. But overall, I love the fact that the Joker, little Easter egg Joker, actually wore the same outfit that he wore on the Killing Joke to the beach. So the hat and everything on the shirt. So I love that they actually did that. But, this for me was the funniest of the 3 episodes because I've never seen these characters, like I said before, pushed to this type of limit. It is very dark humor in that sense, that nature. And I swallowed this episode. No pause. I took this episode as much as I honestly could because I just loved it. They killed it. The banter, the everything from the way they looked as toys to, oh man, even though, like I said, the 3 songs were funny. I enjoyed it. This was the creme de la creme for me when it came to this DC Robot Chicken mixture.
You can't talk about teenage sex, but we can sing about it. Hey, loving, look at you, and then the way they changed the lyrics, hilarious.
There was two things I forgot from the bar. So what caused Green Lantern to flip on these chicks was they said you look like you need some Just for Men because he had the gray on the side. So that's what caused him to flip. But of course Aquaman, he's a butt, and I don't know, it's crazy because we always looked at Aquaman as like, okay, yeah, if he's not by water, he's useless. And they really go off of that. Like they really they push that agenda on Aquaman that he's lame. But so then of course it's his turn to try to pick somebody up at the bar, and it turns out to be Martian Manhunter.
Oh yeah,
and he gets right back, and they said, "You got manhunted," and then he left.
Yeah, he quit for the rest of the night. He was done.
And this last thing for me for the last episode was when Riddler left the Legion of Doom, and he had the punctuation posse.
That was pretty cool.
That was hilarious. Did anybody use quotes? Because we haven't heard jack shit. Hilarious, man. Hilarious. The punctuation posse had the exclaimer, the comma, and the quote guys, whatever the hell their name was.
And the comma guy stopped in the middle of the sentence because he's a comma.
Yeah. The comma, hilarious.
Somebody said pause, and then you say that they make fun of Aquaman. I thought in this time around, in this episode, the Riddler came to Starro and said, riddle me this. He died right there on the spot because he's useless in this fight.
He is.
Where he said, and then we'll leave them a riddle so they can try to figure out how to solve the bomb.
What did he say? What did Luthor say? You don't have to leave your dick print all over every crime.
Hey, and what about when Luthor was like, all right, this year, no exploding toys. And Toyman was like, that's literally against me.
That only affects me.
Yeah.
Toyman was the first to die inside there. They stabbed
him. Those conferences that they be having Legion of Doom is funny too.
They got meetings, yo. They got meetings. They got scrum meetings.
Well, you mean this could fly?
We're driving, we're commuting here, and they were complaining about the commute. Yeah. They parked their cars and everything, and they had to walk there. Scarecrow fell in the water and then he got raped by the alligator.
Or what about Clayface when he saw the mole and said, "Hey, come here, let me talk to you," and they both washed away. Hilarious, yo. Oh my gosh, this is so genius. So, funny stuff.
So now it's episode 3, which is pretty much just, it kind of focuses on Superman and Batman. DC Comics Special 3, Magical Friendship. And that's perfect right there. So I'll go to Cole this time. Episode 3, it's like I said, it's very centered on Superman and Batman and their relationship.
Holy smokes. Gotta throw that out there because I really, really like the way they took those two characters and showed the friendship in between them. And then throw in the multiverse. Why not? Let's throw in everyone. I have to say, my favorite part was bringing, may he rest in peace, Adam West Adam West played Batman in the 70s. I grew up on that. I used to watch it on television religiously. And by far, he is my top 3 Batmans of all time. Even though he has the eyebrows like I do, but but that part right there when they said, "Hey, what could you do?" and then he started doing the dance. Oh man, to mimic that awesome scene right there, that was great. And to see all the different characters coming in while Batman and Superman is working their bonds, brilliant. Again, can't stress how much each and every one was just so good. Robot Chicken stuck to what they know, how to do it, and never missed a beat. Loved it, loved it, loved it. I'm ready to get into this conversation with you guys about the third special.
Oh, Pooba.
I'm excited.
Part 3, that montage of the shout out to Dukes of Hazzard. I grew up on Dukes of Hazzard. I didn't know I was not supposed to watch that stuff, but they do a montage of Dukes of Hazzard. I think they call it a magical friendship between the two of them.
Yeah.
And they changed the lyrics again, and
I found it funny that Batman didn't like bats because every time he comes back, he has to clean up all the guano. So he made the seats out of bat skin because just to get back at them. That's hilarious, yo. The guy with the rock stole the show for me. Like they were making fun of Batman and he couldn't open the door, and the guy with the rock.
Green Arrow.
Yeah. So, but the guy with the rock opened the door. Yeah, with the rock.
But because they pointed out and said, "Hey, and Green Arrow has no powers as well."
And then the dossier, when they were doing the dossier on all the superheroes, which I think is from the show Doom, right? Where he shows all the dossier, the DC comic Doom. Shout out to Doom.
Well, no, the comic, the animated movie is called Doom.
Yes.
The comic is called Tower of Babel.
Correct. All right. Thank you for that correction. Yeah. But then Robin didn't have one, which is hilarious to me.
He got a bitch slap.
Yeah. And then when he said the Green Arrows, he came and cut the string of the thing. And that was the way to beat Green Arrow. Yo, they killed it with that.
And Wonder Woman's had to go into another file.
Into the Pornhub file.
Into the beat library. Yo, Ra's al Ghul, he kept on kicking Ra's al Ghul. He goes, funny, I just killed a baby.
Oh my God.
Pushing it to the edge, guys. Funny
Superman and Batman seeing Dr. Fate for therapy. Go again. I can't stress enough, guys. If you love dark humor, and not dry humor at all, like just really raunchy humor and it's all general, this is a show. I don't care if you're not into comic books or you're not into a fantasy world. This is just pure comedy that really broke me in the sense of laughing. My face hurts so much of having to review these. I've watched this Robot Chicken knowing that we were doing this show probably about 4 or 5 times, just the 3 episodes, right? So like 15 shows in a sense, but because they're so short, they're an easy watch. And listen, if you love comedy, this is at its full force of taking characters you know and love and just twisting it on its head. And you know, the last thing that made me laugh was Penguin looking at Robin's legs, going so smooth,
and then got kicked in his face.
But you know, just you know, like again, I just love it. I love it. Even though to Superman saying, "I can bake, I just don't choose to."
Superman for me is the show. The show.
He's the guy. He's the guy.
I will say that, you know, the banter between Superman and Batman, of course, Superman has the leg up on Batman because Batman doesn't have any powers. But They used the cosmic treadmill because he said you're a dime a dozen because he put the Batman costume on the janitor because there was no Batman there, but he figured, oh, you know what? I can just throw a Batman costume on anybody and we're good because they don't have powers either. So Batman gets on the cosmic treadmill, goes and gets the Superman from another dimension, another universe, because to kind of combat Superman. Like, yo, look, I got another one of you too. You're a dime a dozen too, and then that's how the whole finale comes into play. Is that they bring out the composite Superman Batman because they were both on the cosmic treadmill at the same time. There was a joke in there that he said, "Yeah, let's go to Earth D for dickhead."
Oh my gosh.
And then janitor Batman.
He saved the day by just unplugging it.
Oh my God! Shout out to
see,
Sex to Men.
As you can see, we've been laughing this whole entire episode, just going over these 3 episodes. It's a good laugh if you want to kind of just get away from the seriousness of a lot of whatever you're going through. This is a good getaway because it's they push the envelope. It's really, I mean, if you're into this type of humor, because I got obviously us 3 are, because I'm gonna watch it again. And
Absolutely.
there's a lot more. There's a lot more of Robot Chicken, not just DC. They if you go to HBO Max, Adult Swim, Robot Chicken, you'll see everything that they have that's in their library, and it's all funny. But like I opened up with, I was introduced to this, the Real World Metropolis. I'll drop the link to that. I don't know what exact episode that's on because it's not a full special like these are. It was like part of an episode, so I can drop a link into our bio if you want to see that. That for me really like got me to be a Superman fan on Robot Chicken because they show him as he's kind of like a Homelander. He's kind of like, like, yeah, I'm a jerk, but I can be a jerk because nobody's gonna stop me. But
who's gonna save the world? You? I don't think so.
Who's gonna save the world while Superman is vacuuming?
You? I don't think so.
But yeah, enjoy.
Can I say one thing? Can I
You
say one thing I
cannot
forgot?
move
And I
up.
forgot to
That's
say
it.
Mirror Master. What's pink, quivering, and needs a shave?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
He said Sinestro's badge.
Oh my god.
Because he wouldn't shave his mustache.
And then he bleeds all over. I just had to say it. I had to say it because it was one of the funniest things. What's pink and quivering and needs a shave, yo. Hilarious. And then he jumped in the mirror.
Yeah, because he started
said,
bleeding
"I'm
all
out."
over the place.
He did a code. He did a code. Oh, there's too much blood.
I'm out. Yep.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Guys. Listen,
This is fun.
This
It's
was-
a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Like
Again-
he said, if you want to laugh, this is fun.
if you're into this type of,
portion of it.
if you're into this type of humor, by all means, check this out. We will continue to watch this stuff, and if there's anything else we feel we need to bring, we'll do another one. But this was fun. Again, we dig this type of humor, just to get away sometimes because there's nothing, The Joker said it. Haven't you ever heard of the healing power of laughter? And if you want to laugh, this is gonna make you laugh. But for Pete, for Pooba, for Cole, we'll see you guys next time.
Shout out to Mr. Banjo, Fatty Arbuckle.
I'ma really show you.
We will return.
The worst episode ever.